afternoon, children. Now, actually, after a long time, I could not upload the video for a long period of time because the busyness. So anyway, with some new series of videos, I'm going to join you again in my channel because I want to update it and continue with your responses. And also, I'm always ready to facilitate you with a lot of subject related knowledge in political science. Basically, we have discussed up to now so many topics. Today, I thought of discussing something related to the Sri Lankan government system. I can remember once I uploaded the clip on the colonial transformations in Sri Lanka. So today we'll discuss actually about the government reforms, especially Donamore, Solberg, and 1972. Okay. So first, let me brief about the Donamore government reforms that was introduced in 1931 to Sri Lanka. Actually, children, now the background factors related to these government reforms, I must summarize you in this way. What happened was in Great Britain, a kind of a revolutionary change took place in the political arena because in 1924-26, this period, the labor movements were very active in Great Britain. So what happened was the Labour Party won the election by after defeating the Liberal Party in England. Consequently, what happened was a government of Ramsay MacDonald was established, Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald. After that, actually, this government followed some flexible policies toward their colonies. So accordingly, what happened was they actually did not want to keep all these colonies hauled in tightly like the conservative party. So during the this period actually, the Sri Lankan people also continued with lot of protest asking for another government reforms because we had a very English educated middle class that wanted to continue with their demands for new reforms. According to 1927, the Lord Donamore and Dr. Drummond Zales, Matthew Jeffrey Butler. So these people came to Sri Lanka for proposing a better government reform. So after studying the country's profile, meeting a lot of people, interviewing a lot of people, they decided to introduce the Donamore reforms in 1931. They introduced it. Accordingly, this government reform consisted of so many innovative proposals which were suitable for Sri Lanka, as well as some new and revolutionary changes were proposed by those reforms. For example, the major proposals of these government reforms were universal franchise, territorial representations, executive committee system, 3 secretary state officers, and the post of Governor General, Board of Ministers. So these are the major proposals. Now, if you take one by one, actually, now universal franchise, it was kind of a great victory that Sri Lanka achieved because, from the entire Asia, children must be proud of, okay, our this kind of a victory, because from the entire Asia, for the first time, the universal franchise was granted to Sri Lanka. So this was a very, very great victory of Sri Lanka. So a universal franchise mean actually universal. Earlier we had limited franchise. Limited franchise in the sense, only a selected group of people on the basis of their property, social status, and those kind of things were given the opportunity of casting votes. It is known as limited franchise. So, but the no more reforms provided the opportunity for every individual over the age of 18 years to cast their votes for electing the representatives to the uh, state council. Okay, so accordingly, this is a revolutionary change that was introduced to Sri Lankan political system. With this actually remarkable and unbelievable change took place in Sri Lankan society because the people were much motivated by this, and they enthusiastically participated in the political process because they all got an opportunity to uh, cast their votes and participate in the electoral process. It was a huge victory of Sri Lanka. So with that, earlier we had the call group reforms had introduced what we call communal representation, but this reform do no more introduce territorial representation. Territorial representations was introduced for the first time in 1920s. Many reforms, they are they elected uh, 20 members. They provided an opportunity for electing members from different provinces. That was the beginning of the territorial representation. But the Donamo reforms, for the first time, elected 50 members from different parts of the electorates for the first time in Sri Lanka. So it was a wide opportunity for Sri Lankans to participate in the electoral process. So we call it territorial representations. Now, altogether there were 61 members in the Donmore State Council. These 61 members, out of these 61 members, except 3 state secretaries, financial secretary, general secretary, and legal secretary, as well as a speaker, except these 4 persons, all other 57 members were divided into 7 executive committees. 57 members were divided into 7 executive committees. Actually, children, executive committee was a kind of novel experience for Sri Lankans because earlier under Colebrook, Kumakalam, Manin, Devonshire, in all these government reforms, the official members were not Sri Lankans. Okay, official members were all the British people. Sri Lankans were unofficial. So our people were not given an opportunity to participate in executive decision making. It was a big problem. But under this government reforms, for the first time, an executive committee system was introduced, and this executive committee system provided an opportunity for Sri Lanka to participate in the executive affairs of the government. So what happened here was these 57 members of the Donmore State Council or the legislature or Donmore Parliament was called the State Council. In this State Council, all the 57 members were divided into 7 executive committees, so that each committee consisted of 6 to 9 members. Each committee consisted of 6 to 9 members of education, for agriculture, health. In this way, there were 7 executive committees, and each executive committees had a chairman elected by the members of the respective committees. The chairman of that particular committee was the minister of the particular field. For example, the chairman of education committee was CWW Kannangara, Honorable. He was the Minister of Education. The chairman of Agriculture Committee was Honorable D. Senayaka, and he was the Minister of Agriculture. So in this way, the Donamore Executive Committee system was established for the first time. Then, children, this executive committee system had lot of plus and minus points. Okay, the positive side of this executive committee system was actually the positive feature of this executive committee is actually the Sri Lankan got an opportunity to participate in this executive affair. So I must just remind you something while I'm teaching actually. Please don't forget to subscribe my channel because I promise you hereafter I'll be uploading videos continuously, so you better it's a kind of yes, help for me to continue with this. So I actually appeal you, please subscribe me. So executive committee system provided an opportunity for Sri Lanka to participate in executive affairs. It was a good experience. Sri Lankans learn how to engage in decision exercising and executive affairs. And the negative was actually Sri Lankan did not use this opportunity for their own benefit in certain occasions, because there were so many conflicts among these executive committees, because some committees intentionally disturb the affairs or activities of the other committees. There's a huge drawback in these systems. On the other hand, unnecessary delay of executive committees just to get a small slight decision, they had to spend, or they spend hours and hours, days and days, sometimes 2-3 months just for taking a simple decision. Unnecessary wastage of time. So therefore it was called the talk shop. More executive committees were known as talk shops. So in this way there were so many drawbacks in this system. So however, it provided a great opportunity for Sri Lankan to participate in executive affairs. Then, children, after that, these all 7 executive committees chairmen together form the Board of Ministers. Board of Ministers, now 7 chairmen of the 7 executive committees plus 3 state secretaries. Altogether, there were 10 members in the Board of Ministers. We call it Donamore Board of Ministers. Board of Ministers, and the Chief Secretary was the head of the Donamore Board of Ministers. But you must understand, children, it was not a kind of Board of Ministers like in a Westminster government system like it in England, but Sri Lankan got a very good experience here for a future Westminster model of government and cabinet system of governments. They learn how to prepare a bill and how to take decisions, the collective responsibility. All these fundamental things were learned by these officers, the Sri Lankan ministers, through the Donamore Board of Ministers. So just for the day, I hope that's enough. So next day, I'll be continuing from this place onwards. Okay, so hope again you will join me again. And I remind you again, please subscribe me, because we can continue with this, and I will always upload you the lessons you want for upgrading your knowledge in the field of political science. Okay, bye.